everyone, welcome back to my channel, Speak Crime to Me. My name is Elena. On today's episode, we are going to just do a little bit of a recap on a few things that have developed that have come out about the Idaho 4 murders and Bryan Kohberger. Today, it was allegedly reported that Bryan possibly was stalking one of the girls on Instagram. This source is saying that he befriended one of the females, they're not saying who, went in her DMs, sent her a message, like a very, hey, how are you, hey, a very simple message. And once she did not respond, he kept on sending her message over message over message. I think we've all believed that he probably was stalking at least one of the girls, if not multiple girls. I'm interested to find out if this is in fact true and what girl he was indeed stalking. I think everyone believes that that person would be or is Kaylee. However, I know we talked about this, I think on my last episode, how Kaylee was not supposed to be in the house that weekend. And now people are speculating that maybe she wasn't the target, or he was actually stalking her on social media, knowing that she would be back in the house on this day and this weekend. If this source ends up being correct, that he was stalking somebody on social media or on Instagram, then possibly it does prove that he was stalking Kaylee, and that's why he would have known that she was back into town that weekend, and maybe that's why he decided to commit the murders on that specific day. Since we're talking about Kaylee, I did read a very short article from some quotes from her family, or her father specifically. And I know there was a lot of questions on why possibly Kaylee and Maddie did call Kaylee's ex-boyfriend like 10 times that night. Her family says that she had been talking to them for a little bit about possibly rekindling that relationship, that she felt like she might never find another Jack. His name was Jack. The family believes that she might have called because she was trying to rekindle or get back together with him that night. Another thing that I felt like was very heartbreaking is her family said that, and I'm going to put this in quotes, it's almost like she knew, Kaylee, that she only had a certain amount of time left and she was rushing towards her goals. We know that she had gotten an IT job in Texas, had moved out, had just bought a recent car, or she had just bought a new car, and that's what she wanted to show to Maddie. On the last episode, we did dive into some of the alleged posts that Bryan had made on this forum. To give some relation to when these posts were actually made, it's alleged that these posts were made between November 6th, 2009 through February 20th, 2012. They are reporting that he allegedly posted 118 times under a username called XR, EXARR. I want to give you guys a couple of just dates because I talked about in the last episode how he claims that he has this neurological disorder called visual snow, and that transformed him into kind of his depression and feeling emotionless and things like that. In January 2011, that is when he supposedly got diagnosed with this visual snow, and that's when he started saying that he felt hopeless. A couple of months later, in April 2011, he says that he has become very deep and determined on his goals, and he feels like that had made him even smarter. Not sure exactly. They don't elaborate on what kind of goals that he's talking about. The next month in May, he claims again that he's depressed, he has zero emotion, he is mean to his family when he gets home, and that he does whatever he wants and feels no remorse about it. Then let's move forward to February 2012, so almost a year later. He says that he's accepted the visual snow diagnosis and feels, I guess, more normal. Again, all of this is alleged under this name XR. They did say in this article that there has been no relation to this visual snow disorder and violence. So in case you were wondering about that, they have not found any correlation. I don't even know how many people have this disorder of the visual snow. I'm sure you all have seen that a lot of news stations, talk shows are doing a lot of interviews with experts, FBI agents, investigators, and things of that sort to try to get their take on the case, since we still have very limited information. Something that I read that I just wanted to share, I thought it was interesting, is some of the experts believe that Bryan probably called what they are calling, or what they call, a calling card. When I first heard calling card, I'm thinking of a typical calling card. But when they reference calling card, they are saying that he left something purposely on the scene, at the scene, to claim the murders. We know that the sheath of the knife was left, so some experts believe that he did that intentionally, and that was his calling card. I go back and forth on this, if I do feel like that he left that intentionally or not, especially since we know he went back the next morning and possibly later on in the evening time the next day. I know a lot of experts are also saying that they believe this was probably not his first murder, and that he probably has committed a murder in a similar fashion. There has been a couple of cases. I believe there was one in Oregon in 2021 that had a stabbing. They ruled that as not being connected. I'm wondering if they're looking at other parts of the U.S., because we know that he was only in Washington for a short period of time. So other crimes in the Philadelphia, Northeast area could be possible. It will be interesting over time to see if other cases have come out potentially connected to Bryan and this case. Lastly, I just want to touch on a recent story about some of the neighbors that lived next to Bryan in his Washington apartment. One neighbor claims that he had a normal conversation with Bryan about the murders, and Bryan allegedly says it seems like they don't have any leads, and then he adds on to that, it seems like it was a crime of passion. And the neighbor says that Bryan was the one who started this conversation. Another conversation had with a neighbor was when Bryan first moved into that apartment complex. It sounds like his dad helped move him in, and his dad befriended a neighbor of Bryan's and basically asked the neighbor to be friends with Bryan. The person basically said it was almost like setting up like a kid's play date. The neighbor describes Bryan's father as being very friendly, very straightforward, but interesting enough, he said he wouldn't put it past him to have known about the murders or may have been aware of what happened. I want to play quickly this video when Bryan and his dad were pulled over. When I watched this video, if you notice, Bryan says that they're going to get something to eat, and then the dad basically starts talking about that they're going to Pennsylvania. To me, I don't feel like the dad would have been so forthcoming about where they were headed and what they were doing, if he was aware of what Bryan had done.
How you doing?
How y'all doing today? Good, good. Take a look at your driver's license real quick if I could.
Sure.
See, he's right up on that van, man. He was right up on the back end of that van. Pulled you over for tailgating. Is this your car? Okay. Cool. Where are you headed?
We're going to actually well, we're coming from WSU, and we're standing early.
What's WSU?
Yeah, I go to university basically. And we're listening to this incident that was occurring with the shooting incident. That is SWAT team and everything.
So we're okay. I'm having a hard time hearing you because of the traffic. So you're coming from Washington State University,
yeah.
And you're going where? Oh,
we're going to be going to Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're a little.
But I want to know, are you guys kind of thinking what I'm thinking? So please put your comments below. The last piece of information I want to share with you all today is the neighbor that Bryan's dad had asked to befriend Bryan was married. Wife told her husband, please do not bring Bryan back into this apartment again. I have a really bad feeling about him. So those are the recent updates that have developed or come out in the last day or days that I wanted to share with you all. As always, please leave your comments below, questions, and please like and subscribe to my channel. And until next time.